this is Irene, Kitty Wolf 13. As you can see, I have one of my project girls on the table. Forgive me if I block the camera a little bit, because this time around I'm using a different setup and I can't really see what's on my camera from where I'm standing to take the doll apart. So, this is the project girl number 1. This is a Volks SD10 F01, or the Four Sisters head. She is the original, give or take, 1999 edition, or the original release, because she does not have the metal plate in the back of her head like all the Volks dolls nowadays have. So I'm going to take a sit down here and I'm going to show you how I'm going to restring her to get her ready for a bath. As I can see, she's been blushed before, and she's had a manicure before, and actually the manicure's not that bad, but I could probably do a good job too. Let's see. Once I get her all unstrung, I am going to be giving her a bath first before I OxiClean her. So you're going to need some magic erasers. I just went to the dollar store and bought some cheap ones because, well, I'm cheap, I'm unemployed, and I can't afford to go buying magic cleaning erasers. If you do buy the actual brand name magic cleaning erasers, I suggest getting the ones that do not have bleach or any sort of chemicals in them, because that might harm the resin. So get the plain ones that are the originals. I also have set aside for me a plain old bucket, because that's where her parts are going to go in. I was originally going to use a bowl so I could keep track of it, but I don't have a bowl that I can use. Important thing to note is, since I'm using chemical cleaners to clean her, and resin is technically toxic if ingested, please use something that you will not use to eat out of later. So go out and buy a cheap bowl or a cheap bucket like I did, or use an old bowl or bucket that you have around the house, but that you will not be using to eat out of or clean or do anything that you might ingest later down the road, because you don't want to ingest that by accident. I don't want to be responsible for somebody getting sick because they decided to, hey, let's clean my doll and then make popcorn or something. Let's not do that, okay? So, with her sitting out here on the table, and you're going to have to forgive me again because, like I said, I can't see my camera, so if I'm covering any of the doll or anything like that, I'm sorry. Also, forgive me because apparently there's a rainstorm coming in, so if that travels over to my camera, I'm sorry as well. As you can see, the original Volks dolls did not have S-hooks. In my original video, I thought her elastic was just so old that she needed to be redone, but what it turns out to be is that she actually has a piece of string tied to her elastic. So actually, I could probably, well, okay. This is where my forceps would have come in handy. In fact, I think I'll pull those out because I do have them nearby. So, forceps. Show you a perfect example of how I will use the forceps to help with stringing and unstringing. Make sure they click so they don't open, and they just rest there. And now I can use both hands to undo her hand. I did bring a pair of scissors because I don't like using strings to tie my doll hands, but who knows, maybe I will try doing it this way in the future, because as I'm looking at her, I'm not entirely sure how Volks even got these strings inside her hands in the first place. Like, they're really quite small, these strings, I mean. Let's see if I can fit it around. Yeah, I'm just going to cut them. I'm going to take the easy way out and just cut them. I also am surprised to see that apparently Volks glued the wrist ball to the hand, or it's actually one part. I can't really tell. So I'm learning a couple of new things from this as well. Hopefully you guys could see this well. I'll have to rewatch the video and see how it goes. But if I were just restringing this doll, I would try and keep all her parts on the side of her body where it needed to be. In this case, I'm unstringing her to clean her, and so if I mix up the parts, I'm generally pretty good at being able to tell where the parts are supposed to go. If you're an artist and you have a general idea of anatomy and such, it is actually very helpful in stringing dolls. If not, don't worry about it. It'll come to you. Again, the ankle ball joint is attached to her foot. Her cute little feet. Volks SD feet are super cute. So, I'm basically just taking her apart and taking a look. This is the thigh joint, the infamous thigh joint that people don't like because they tend not to be able to sit very well. If you look here, you see that she had once been sueded. It looks like pliver sueding, but as you can see, it's so old that it just comes right off. So that's just trash. Gotta take her apart from here. I did pull out some S-hooks with her to see if I could try and figure out a way, because I'm not very fond of fighting and trying to take the that pliver just came right out, see that? I'm not fond of trying to fight with the doll and try to put little strings in them like this, but I might have to. I was thinking about using these lanyard clips, and as you can see, they're longer, so it's kind of like an S-hook, because I figured I should be able to fit them in there and clip them on, but that might require some work too, so I might have to learn how to tie S-hooks. And this looks like just cotton twill, by the way. Whatever you can find at a craft store, as long as it's sturdy and won't break under the pressure of the elastic, looks like it'll do just fine. So, let's free her other hand. And like I said, okay, so as you can see, this doll, either from age or somebody improperly who's stringing her in the past, her knot for her chest was actually in her arm, and it doesn't work very well that way. So, in the future, the knot should stay somewhere here in the middle of her chest, not in the arm cavities. Believe it or not, this elastic isn't that bad. I could probably reuse this elastic and just re-knot it. I tend to try and reuse them because they are expensive, or it's a hassle to find the right kind of elastic, so I try to reuse it. So I might be able to reuse this just by putting a new knot further in to get some more tension. We'll see. If you look here, she's got more ancient pliver sueding in there. And now her head should just come right out. And I have a torso. Oh, look, her butt's really dirty. But as you can see, she had body blushing at one point, and it's not badly done. I doubt it's a Volks job. It's probably a previous owner. As you can see, the one-piece torso comes in one piece. So I usually restring my single torso dolls with a piece of wire because it's easy to get from this hole to this hole and not in that hole using the wire versus a piece of string which would get lost somewhere in here and try and come out this hole or this hole or over here. A wire is just much easier. The old Volks heads, as you can see, the S-hook gets hooked onto the head cap. Another thing that I don't like from older dolls, so I will probably either jerry-rig or order her some kits from Volks that will have the little neck piece so I can update the inside of her head cap. The S-hook just comes right off. And then the elastic. Here's what I mean. In my original video, oops, sorry, I hit the camera. As you can see, it's a super long elastic. I probably can't even get the whole thing on camera. And then it is looped over to where the S-hook sits on it. and then each of these strands go into each leg. So that's the basis of the elastic inner core of a resin ball jointed doll. So that would be the feet, and then the arms would come through with a knot in the middle, like this. So this is what your resin BJD would look like without her resin parts. Kinda cool, huh? So here's Miss FO1. She has a face that's done by some previous mom. She actually even has little teeth. I don't know if the camera will pick up on that or not, but it's super cute. Like I said, she's an old Volks, so she doesn't have the plate anywhere on her head. It looks like they at one point had Velcro or something glued to her head to keep the wigs from falling off. She has 1999 imprinted on the inside of her head, and her name, which I'll later today I'll probably go on the Angel's Den and try to figure out if she's Sarah or Megu or any of the other Volk sisters. She's got a wad of putty in here. I'm going to try and take her eyes out. Sometimes I will poke them from this side. Her eyeballs are a nice glass, which was a pleasant surprise. And I just noticed that whoever did her face up last actually gave her bottom lashes too. That's actually rather nice, even though I'm not crazy about the spider lashes she's got going on right now. Whatever putty they used feels kind of like sticky tack, is really stuck in there. And as you can see, it's only coming out in little bitty pieces. So I'll put that stuff aside. Let's see here. Oh, they dropped more things. Maybe if I use the towel and my metal chopstick, I can push the eyeball out. Now you can see, it pushed the eye, but it's still not coming out through the putty. Okay. I think we're getting somewhere. Alright, we have one eyeball. Ooh, these are actually really pretty. I'm guessing they're probably 20 to 22 millimeter eyes. Now that I got one, I can peel the other one right out. They're actually really pretty nice eyes. I'm kind of happy with that, because the auction originally said just the doll, nothing else, no boxes or anything like that. So I was slightly skeptical of whether I would get the eyes, since it said no extras, but since they were pictured in the auction, well, not auction, but in the sales post, I figured that she would come with them. So I'm glad to see that both of them came with their respected eyes, and they're nice glass eyes. They're not acrylic. Not that there's anything wrong with the plastic acrylics, I just have gotten used to, at the very least, upgrading my dolls to have glass eyes, because I think it's nicer. Right now I'm basically just trying to get the last of the eye putty out of the eyeball, out of the head. But yeah, some of it will come out when I bathe her. And I will stop this video and set up the camera again to show you that I'm going to scrub her first with soap and water and with the Windsor Brush Newton to remove the face stuff. I will be taking these eyes out. I'll either soak her or I might be able to just pull them out. Basically, this is usually glued on with PVA glue, like Elmer's glue, white glue, Eileen's tacky glue. See, this one just came right out. So it should, essentially, when I wet her and soak her, the eyes should come out, and so will the glue residue. Sometimes the eyes are stubborn and I can pull them out. Sometimes it needs a little more force and I actually have to soak them. But now you can kind of see her eye shape a little better now that she's missing eyelashes. So with that being said, I'm going to stop the video here now. I will post this one, and then I will do part 2 of me scrubbing and cleaning her in the bathroom. Unfortunately, my bathroom has like yellow walls, and the lighting in there isn't the greatest, so my video in washing the doll itself will probably have a really yellowish tint. This should be closer to her actual color as it is currently. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you found this video interesting to some extent and helpful, and yeah, we'll be moving on to the next step shortly. So with that being said, thank you, and see you soon.